Today we are working Psalm 62. Some traditional uses in psalm magic for Psalm 62 are to change one's luck for the better and also to strengthen one's spiritual values. Today, I like the idea of changing one's luck for the better, but let's talk about really quickly what that means. Luck is not a real thing the way most people think of it. So there's no external lucky force that's going to change things for you. But sometimes it appears as if things are just not going your way, and it just seems like you are in like you're having a string of bad luck. And there's a lot of reasons for that metaphysically. So this psalm will turn that around. This psalm can turn all that around. So what appears to be bad luck will turn to good luck if you plant the right seeds in the deep part of your minds. And that's what this psalm is going to do. And the way that we do that with psalm magic is that we take the psalm in question and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. And that's called an incantation. And then what we do is we take the same psalm and we go back through it, and we go through it a little more slowly, or sometimes a lot more slowly, and take it verse by verse and dig for hidden occult meanings within the psalm. And we just contemplate them. We dig, we search, we find, we work. And this is how we work the magic. And it's through this whole process of digging and contemplating and finding and applying what we find to whatever the issue is that we come to the psalm regarding. Through doing all of that, we are in a very real way taking those seeds of magic that we find there and planting them deeply in the fertile ground of our minds, where they take root and they grow forth. They blossom and they bear fruit after their kind. And that's exactly what you and I are going to do together today, right now, with Psalm 62. Truly my soul waiteth upon God. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain all of you. As a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. God hath spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. All right, this is a wonderful psalm. Get ready to turn things around today. So it starts off with, truly my soul waiteth upon God. God means Elohim in this psalm. Remember, Elohim means the gods. Elohim is a plural, but there is only one. This is a great mystery. There's only one God. There's only one power. There's only one source, only one force, only one substance in all the universe. And God, in this sense, is a pre-gender experience. Now, the fact that it's many, you can think of the many as being a rainbow, many colors, but coming from one light, from one source. So God as Elohim is, we say, similar to maybe a board of directors. So it's a collective, but it's one. There's no separation, yet there are many. There's unity, there's oneness, yet there's diversity. So truly my soul waiteth upon God. So to wait upon God means that you're not the one making the move, right? You're listening. This is a listening psalm. You're listening to God. You're saying, I'm going to be feminine to your masculine. I'm going to allow myself to be a vessel that is filled up with you. Why would you want to do that? Well, if bad luck is what's going on, obviously you're not doing it right. Obviously you don't know what to do, or things would be working out better for you. So here the psalm is just telling you, stop that. Wait upon God. Open your mind and listen. Have that listening experience. Don't tell God what you want. Don't tell God what's going on. Don't tell God anything. Allow God to tell you. And when God tells you, what's God going to tell you? God's not going to tell you the bad news. God's going to tell you the good news. From him cometh my salvation. So the solving of the problem that you bring to the psalm is your salvation. So from him, that gender is an unfortunate thing because this was written in a very patriarchal time and in a patriarchal culture, but them is a better pronoun for that. From them cometh my salvation. So from God, from Elohim, is where my salvation comes from. So I'm going to stop looking to the world. I'm going to stop looking to money. I'm going to stop looking to relationships. I'm going to stop looking to food. I'm going to stop looking to my car. I'm going to stop looking to drugs. I'm going to stop looking to alcohol. Wherever I think I can get my help, I'm going to stop it. Because again, if you're having bad luck, if you knew so well what to do and what was going to make it better, it would be better by now. So we're going to stop all of that. And we're going to only look to God. He only is my rock and my salvation. So that's, again, they only are my rock and salvation. Elohim only are my rock and salvation. So the rock is your foundation, that foundation that's immovable. You want to build your house on rock, not on sand. And Elohim is that rock. God is that rock. That salvation we've talked about, again, is the solving of whatever problem it is that you're coming to the psalm for. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. So again, Elohim is your defense, not you. If you knew how to defend yourself, you wouldn't have problems. So you're trying to defend yourself. Your defensiveness is the problem. That's where that, quote, bad luck comes from, is your defensiveness. So you're going to be defenseless. And the way you be defenseless and remain safe is by accepting that Elohim is your defense. God is your defense. God is your defense. Let God do God's job. Stop trying to do God's job. I shall not be greatly moved. So you're not going to be moved if God's your defense. Nobody can move you. And you also, another way to look at that same seed of wisdom is you're not going to move off of your position that it's God, not you, that is your defense. You're not going to be moved from your position. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. Now we're talking about the problems here. We're talking about our bad luck. We're talking about the causes of our bad luck, what we're calling bad luck in this particular operation. And those are the thought forms within our mind. So that's who we are addressing here, magically speaking anyway. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? And that's what we do. We imagine problems, and problems come, and we wonder why this is happening to me. And we never even catch ourselves sitting and imagining the worst case scenarios, talking up all kinds of problems, being interested in problems, looking at problems, being interested in the problems of other people, problem. And then we say, isn't it weird that I've got this bad luck going on? No. How long will you imagine mischief against a man? How long are you going to do that and then say, I wonder why I have such bad luck? Ye shall be slain, all of you. So you want those thought forms to be slain. And that's what the psalm is doing. It is slaying your tendency to reach out for the things that cause you the problems that you are coming to the psalm to solve. As a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence. So imagine that tower card in the tarot. That's what we want. We want the lightning to strike the, quote, bad luck and topple it. But not only the bad luck, the causes of the so-called bad luck, which are in our own minds, our own thoughts. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. So those thought forms are constantly opposing God, constantly wanting to imagine, do things that can imagine that God is going to be cast down from his excellency. Now that's a silly thing, like that all perfection, infinite intelligence, the one truth, the one power, the one source, the one substance in all the universe. But our ego minds are always conspiring to prove to us that God doesn't exist, that God is cast down, that God is nothing, and that we're all alone. We're all by ourselves. Nothing can help you. You better get busy. That's what the ego wants you to know. And that's the lies that your ego delights in. You're all by yourself. God's a figment of your imagination. Hope it works out okay for you, right? They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. Your ego basically is a two-faced thing. Your ego is all about gaslighting you. That's what your ego does. It says, ooh, this'll work. Try this. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. And then it's not so good. And it says, what is wrong with you? Why did you do that? You are so stupid. And that's that two-faced gaslighting nonsense that we do to ourselves through our ego mind. Blessing with our mouth and cursing inwardly. My soul, waiteth thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. Well, our soul always waits on God because God is one with our soul. We don't have to improve our souls. We don't have to change how our soul relates to God. Our souls are absolutely perfect. It's our personality. It's our experience here in the world that we have tried to separate from our souls where the problem is. So yeah, well, your soul waiteth only upon God, and now your expectation is from him. So now your personality has to catch up to what your soul already knows. And that means that you need to expect God. You need to expect that it's working out. Expect it. That's when your faith is built on rock. You're not believing something, you're expecting it. You're not hoping for it, you are expecting it because it's the only real truth. The only thing that really is, the only thing with substance is that which comes from infinite intelligence itself. Anything that we come up with and project onto the screen of space is not real. So we have to learn how to expect from infinite intelligence rather than having faith in our own vain imaginings. Again, the psalmist reiterates, he only is my rock and my salvation. Now it's really putting the only in there. And there's a lot of only that they took out of this psalm when they translated it. In the Hebrew, there's about 5 times more onlys. It's the only psalm. And that's why this is so good for you when you feel like you've got a run of bad luck, is because you're saying, only God, only God, only God, only God. You're not tripping yourself up and saying, oh, no, but this one I could do. This one is the one I can fix. I know what to do here. Nope. Only God. Only God. Because remind yourself, if I knew how to fix this, it would have been fixed a long time ago. So let's just assume I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So he only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. Stop defending myself. I'm not going to defend myself. I'm going to God to defend me. God defends me, not me. I shall not be moved. Once again, I'm not going to be moved. I'm not going to be moved off of my position here, and I'm not going to allow my thought forms to move me, and I'm not going to let anything move me away from my great and good luck that is now happening. This wonderful turnaround that God is providing for me. I'm not going to let myself be moved off of that. I'm not going to go back to my old way of thinking. I'm not going to go back to my old way of acting. I'm not going to go back to trying to fix everything myself and mess it all up again. I'm not going to be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory. So God is your salvation because God is the only reality. You and God never got separated. You and your soul and God, you never got separated. You are just like a beam of sunlight right out of the sun. That's what you are. You're an extension. That's what it means when it said God made you in God's own image and likeness. You are just like the sun because you're part of the sun. A ray of light has all the qualities of its source, right? A wave has all the qualities of the ocean. So and a wave is not separate from the rest of the ocean. God is your salvation and your glory because you and God are one. Now, the glory of God and the glory of you are the same thing. Think of glory as being your aura. Think of glory as being that which glows, your life force. So you shimmer, you glow, just like God, because you and God are of the same fabric. The only difference between you and God is that God made you and you didn't make God. But you're the same. You live with God. You have your being with God. You are the same substance of God. And no matter what your personal beliefs are, you can't change the essential nature of who you are. You can't believe yourself into having anything other than the truth, but you can have experiences which are other than the truth. That's the power of your thought. You can think thoughts that are separate from God, but only in the realm of an illusion or a nightmare or a fantasy. You can't change what God made. You're not that powerful, but you are powerful as a beam of light from God, right? Even God's not that powerful. God can't do certain things. That's not what omnipotent means. God can't make 6 + 6 = 2. That's just not in the realm of reality. So God's not going to do something that's impossible, right? But we try to do things that are impossible. We have nightmares and visions of this world where we really believe that 6 + 6 = 2. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. So the rock of your strength and refuge, you are infinitely strong in God because that's your essential nature, is the same as God. When you think of yourself as being divorced from God, you got a divorce from God, you think, and some time way off in the distance, and now you're just this lonely little powerless thing flailing about in the wind. That image of yourself, that's not strong. You'll never find strength in that image, but that image isn't real. The truth is that you, as a beam of light straight out of the heart of God, that's who you are. Very strong, very powerful, and you have all the refuge you need. You are very safe because of that, because of who you are. But you have to recognize the reality in order to actualize and realize the reality. The longer you stay in fantasy land, the longer you're asleep and the longer you're going to be dreaming dreams that you don't enjoy. So if you want to change that, you have to wake up to the truth. And the truth is that you already are strong. You already are protected. God already is your defense and all already is well. So you're going to just have to take your hands off the wheel and let God be God instead of trying to do God's job. And then all of this will turn around for you because you were not created to do some of the stuff that you're doing. You were not created to take over for God, but you think you are. Okay. Trust in Him at all times. At all times. So that's especially when things look bad. That's when you want to trust in God. A lot of times we say, oh, I trust in God. I trust in my higher power. Infinite intelligence has everything. And then something appears to go wrong and we're like, okay, well, God, I don't think you can handle this. I'll do it myself. And then we wonder what happens. So trust in God at all times. Ye people, pour out your heart before Him. So that means ye people are your thoughts. That means you're not going to hide thoughts from God. You're not going to hide thoughts from God. You're not going to hide your intentions from God. You're not going to try to have a private world separate and distinct from God. You're not going to try to have private goals and private thoughts and private intentions. And we see this all the time in magic. It's just like, well, I'm just going to do a spell for blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, maybe you should do a psalm spell and see, if you can align with, or do solar light meditation or something, see if you can align with the divine design. And they say, well, but what happens if it's not in the divine design for me? Then I won't get it. That's a private thought. That's a private intention. That's something that you're trying to do all by yourself. And it wants you to pour out your heart before God, all of the thoughts in your mind. Lay it all on the line, let God see all of it. And that way God can help you to get rid of the thoughts that are causing you problems, that are causing so-called bad luck from you, and get rid of those and reinforce and optimize the thoughts that are there to help to make sure that you have what people call good luck. God is a refuge for us, Selah. It's the same thing. If you feel like you're unsafe and things aren't working out for you, it's because you're trying to have a refuge all by yourself. And all by yourself, separate and distinct from God, that's not much of a refuge. No wonder things don't work out for you. It's not there because you're trying to put your trust in something that doesn't really exist, because you as a separate entity can't exist. Right? So we're going to put our refuge in God, and remind yourself frequently that this is not some external deity separate and distinct from you that you're going to hope knows what they're doing. This is infinite intelligence, that which is creating your heartbeat right now, that makes babies out of embryos and planets to revolve around suns and forests out of acorns, etc., etc., etc. It can do all of that, but somehow just can't figure out your life, is what we think. So we've got to remind ourselves, God is a refuge means that which is the closest to me, that which I'm already connected to, that which is my source, and that which is infinite intelligence and never makes a mistake. That's what I want as my refuge, not this stuff that I'm making up all by myself. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. Okay. Vanity is, in my opinion, a mistranslation. In the Hebrew, vanity is vapor. That word that they translated in this particular one as vanity, it works as vanity, and you can use it as that. It works. But let's go ahead and go back with the actual Hebrew here, which means vapor. Surely men of low degree are vapor, and men of high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vapor. Okay, so we're talking about the ego. We're talking about separate entities. If you put all of the egos of the world into one side of a balance and air on the other side of the balance, air would win. Air has more substance. Vapor has more substance than all the egos. Because why? The egos are illusions. They don't exist. They don't exist. So a low degree and a high degree of ego doesn't make any difference. It's vapor and lie, vapor and lie, vapor and lie. Ego is just a lie. And a lie just means an illusion. An illusion. A big, giant story, a big fantasy, a big nightmare. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. So you don't want oppression and robbery here. Of course, most of you aren't going to go out and rob people at gunpoint and oppress people and become dictators. Most people listening aren't going to do that. So we have to look at what that means underneath the surface. Robbery and oppression are when we decide that we have to do God's job for God. That's robbing God of God's job. That's trying to oppress God. And so we have to get clear of who we are. And again, this psalm is all about being silent. It's all about listening. So you have to recognize, if you start that up, that robbery and oppression, if you start that like, no, okay, no, I want this, and God, make sure that this is this way, and you don't understand God, blah, 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 blah. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. You don't know what's going to make you happy. You don't know what to do about this. You don't. If you knew, you would have done it. So just assume that you're off track. Just assume that your own will, that your own small will is oppression and robbery. If you assume that, then you're not going to go down those roads, and you're going to be receptive to the truth. You're going to be receptive to wisdom, and what? Receptive to the solution. Because that's all God wants, is for the solution. God wants you to be happy. And see, we were taught very poorly by this world that any sense of God or a higher power is out to get us. And that's not the case. We are out to get us. God is not out to get us. God is out to save us. God is out to make sure that we come back home happy, whole, complete, and with all the luck we need to have a very, very good life. Now, this is a very important part of this. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Basically, it's talking about how riches are going to increase. When you let God be God, then everything is on its way to you. And so money gets, great wealth starts happening, great things turn around, and the luck turns around, and things just start springing forth, and great abundance comes. And then you want to recognize that it's the source of that abundance that is where you set your heart, not upon the things themselves, because this is what tends to trip almost everybody up. As soon as this starts working, then we say, thanks God, I'll take it from here. And then we go back and have more problems. So we have to remind ourselves when things really do turn around, which they will, and when the money or whatever it is starts to work out for us, we don't want to just forget what happened and how we got there. We want to stay there. We want to stay there and make that stuff permanent. God has spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy. Okay, so this is how we're going to take this one. There's a lot of ways you can look at this, but for this today, God spoke once, and we heard when it said, and twice have I heard this. We're going to look at it as God gave us the truth, and there's two things that we heard from it. Two things. One thing is that power belongs to God, and the second thing that we heard is that mercy belongs to God. So we can't give ourselves power. We can't give ourselves mercy. We've tried. Didn't work out so well for us. But with God, power and mercy come together as a package. You can think of that as being a balance between sphere number 4 and sphere number 5 on the tree of life. Power being severity and mercy being mercy. And when it comes from God, it's always in balance and it never hurts us. But when we try to have power or when we try to have mercy, we mess it up because we don't know how to have that kind of a balance. So we let God be God. We don't do God's job for God anymore. We're going to stop. And you know what? That's such a burden lifted from you. You don't have to beat your heart anymore. You don't have to make sure that the planet spins. What? Huh? I have to make sure that the sun comes up in the morning. What am I going to do with my day? Right? So stop trying to fix all of the problems in our lives and allow God to do God's job. And our job is what? To listen. To listen. For thou renderest to every man according to his work. So God's never late on God's payroll. That's what that means. You always are going to be taken care of. And all you have to do is your tiny, itty bitty little part. And what is that? Listen. Be receptive. Do what you're told. Take one thing at a time and allow yourself to be guided and led every step of the way. And you don't have to come up with all the solutions. You don't have to come up with any of the solutions. You don't have to come up with anything. All you have to do is listen and follow. Listen and follow. And a lot of people think, oh, what a horrible existence, that I'm just an automaton. No, that's not being an automaton. That's being a child of the infinite. That's being a child. Right? It's okay to be an eternal child in that regard. Being taught, being shown, being guided, being led. It's so much fun. It's so exhilarating. And everybody's curriculum is completely unique unto them. That's when things really start to take off and things really become amazing, is when you stop trying to do things that you were never meant to do. And that is be God. Allow yourself to not be God for a minute. Allow yourself to just be the reception of all of God's love for you. The reason God created you was not so that you could have a bad day and have bad luck. God created you because God loves you. And God continues to love you. And that love just wants you to be happy and wants you to have everything that will contribute to that happiness. And until you realize that, you're going to mess it up again and again and again, because you, at this point, haven't come to that place where you understand that. And so anything that you try to do to yourself is always going to be tinged with those ego thoughts of self-destruction. God doesn't have self-destructive thoughts. God doesn't have any destructive thoughts. So when you let God be God, everything turns around for you and all is well. So just keep coming back to this psalm each and every day until you start to feel a sense of peace and certainty about the matter at hand, and then move off of that. Go on to something else and let it manifest as it will. Very good. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I adore you. And until next time, blessed be.